Stop everything you are doing and look at your screen, because what I am about to show you is not just another piece of crypto news. It is a single most important signal flashing green for Bitcoin's future, a signal that proves the floodgates are about to open, and if you are not positioned correctly right now, you'll be left behind watching from the sidelines as the greatest wealth transfer of our generation accelerates without you. The headline seems simple, almost deceptively so, for new entities have started holding Bitcoin in the last month, bringing the total to 355. On the surface, that sounds incremental, maybe even boring, but you need to understand that this number, the specific organic data point, is equivalent to seeing the first few drops of rain before a historic Category 5 hurricane makes landfall. This is not about retail investors or your friend talking about crypto at a barbecue. This is about the titans of industry, the sovereign nations, the institutional behemoths with balance sheets larger than the GDP of small countries, quietly and methodically moving their chess pieces onto the board. And this data is our direct, unfiltered look at their game plan. So, I want you to do something for me right now. Hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, because over the next few minutes, we're going to dive deep into what this truly means. And you're going to walk away with perspective on Bitcoin that you simply cannot get anywhere else. A perspective that will change how you view the entire digital asset landscape forever. To truly grasp the seismic shift represented by these four new entities, we must first abandon the retail investor mindset, the world of buying fractions of a coin on an app. We are entering the realm of macrofinance, where decisions are measured in billions, timelines in decades, and the primary concern is not short-term price swings, but the long-term preservation of capital on a scale previously unimaginable. The journey to 355 total entities has not been a smooth, upward curve. It is a story of gradual, then sudden acceptance, a story written in the ledger of corporate treasuries and sovereign wealth funds. It began in earnest with the likes of MicroStrategy, a company that transformed its entire business model around Bitcoin accumulation, treating it not as a speculative asset, but as the primary treasury reserve asset, a bold move that was mocked by Wall Street initially, but is now studied in business schools. Then came the public companies like Tesla, the private hedge funds, and eventually, the monumental moment when an entire country, El Salvador, declared Bitcoin legal tender, fundamentally altering the relationship between nation-states and monetary sovereignty. Each of these milestones added not just one entity to the count, but entire categories of holders, proving that Bitcoin's value proposition was not a monolith, but a multifaceted tool for different actors. For a publicly traded company, it is a non-correlated asset to protect against the devaluation of their cash reserves by endless money printing. For a developing nation, it is a means of escaping the stranglehold of the US dollar and the geopolitical leverage that comes with it. For a private fund, it is the highest potential asymmetric bet in history, an asset with a fixed supply in a world of infinite fiat expansion. This organic database of 355 entities is not a random list. It is a census of the vanguard, the early adopters in a global monetary paradigm shift. They are not day traders. They are builders of digital fortresses on their balance sheets, and their entry is a painstaking process involving board approvals, regulatory risk assessments, and the development of entirely new custodial and security frameworks. The fact that four new entities navigated this complex gauntlet in a single month is not a minor event. It is a testament to the accelerated maturity of the infrastructure surrounding Bitcoin and the diminishing perceived risks associated with holding it. This is a quiet, boring, and profoundly powerful work of institutional adoption happening behind the scenes, far from the noise of social media and price charts, and it created a foundation demand so robust and so insatiable that its effects are only just beginning to ripple out to the price we all see on our screens. The narrative that Bitcoin is too volatile for serious institutions is being systematically dismantled with every new name added to this list, as these are the most risk-averse, compliance-heavy organizations on the planet, and their due diligence processes are far more rigorous than any retail investors. They are looking past the daily chart noise and seeing the fundamental truth. A globally accessible, decentralized, and absolutely scarce asset is an inevitability in a digital world. And they are positioning themselves not for the next quarter, but for the next quarter century. This foundational shift is the real story, the bedrock upon which everything else is built, and understanding it is the key to understanding why the next phase of Bitcoin's growth will be unlike anything we have witnessed before. Now, Let us project this foundational shift forward into a future that is closer than you think. A future defined not by the question of if, but by how much. A future where the arrival of these four new entities is understood not as an isolated data point, but as a critical inflection point in a much larger, irreversible macroeconomic story that is perfectly engineered for Bitcoin's ultimate value proposition to shine on the global stage. We are currently witnessing the most aggressive interest rate hiking cycle in decades, a frantic attempt by central banks to combat an inflation monster that they themselves created through years of quantitative easing and money printing. Yet despite their efforts, inflation remains stubbornly persistent, caught in a sticky trap that suggests the old tools are no longer working. This creates a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario for traditional finance, a veritable checkmate for the legacy system that is forcing institutional allocators to search for a lifeboat outside of the traditional 60-40 portfolio. If interest rates remain high for longer, they risk triggering a deep and painful recession, crippling corporate earnings, causing widespread defaults, and crushing the bond market as the value of existing low-yield bonds plummets. If, on the other hand, central banks panic and cut rates prematurely to stimulate the faltering economy, they risk reigniting the inflationary inferno, further destroying the purchasing power of every dollar, euro, and yen in existence, effectively punishing savers and any entity holding cash. In this impossible dilemma, the traditional pillars of finance are cracking, and it is into this financial vacuum that Bitcoin strides with undeniable force, not as a mere speculative tech stock, but as a sovereign, non-correlated, hard asset with verifiably scarce supply that is completely immune to the whims of any central bank or government. The four new entities that allocated to Bitcoin this month are not buying because they think the price will go up next week. They are allocating because their sophisticated risk models and macroeconomic teams are screaming that the entire global financial system has entered uncharted territory and that a 21 million cap digital asset is no longer a speculative alternative, but a necessary strategic imperative for capital preservation. And this is just the very beginning of the institutional S-curve of adoption, the steep part of the curve where awareness turns into action and a trickle becomes a flood. Think about the total addressable market for a moment. There are thousands upon thousands of publicly listed companies, hundreds of sovereign nations, and countless private funds, endowments, and family offices with collective assets under management in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. 355 entities is a minuscule, almost negligible fraction of that universe, a mere rounding error. Yet their collective buying power is already enough to move markets and absorb a significant portion of the available liquid supply. As the network effect strengthens, as the proof of concept becomes undeniable with each new corporate or national adopter, the psychological and strategic pressure on the laggards will become immense and utterly inescapable. The question for a CFO or a national treasury minister will fundamentally shift from, why should we hold Bitcoin, to, can we afford the existential strategic risk of not holding Bitcoin when all our competitors and peer nations are? This is a reflexive phase of adoption we are now entering, a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle where each new entity validates the thesis for the next 10, creating a snowball effect that accelerates down the hill, gathering mass and velocity until it becomes an avalanche. The fixed, inelastic supply of 21 million coins stands in stark, beautiful contrast to this exponentially growing, institutional-level demand, creating a mathematical certainty that is profoundly bullish. The math is, in fact, brutally simple. Every single $1 billion of institutional capital that decides to allocate just 1% of its portfolio to Bitcoin removes a significant amount of available supply from the circulating market, dramatically tightening the liquidity and setting the stage for explosive, non-linear price moves on even the most modest additional demand. These four new entities, therefore, are not just anonymous names on a list. They are the leading indicators of a coming liquidity crisis for Bitcoin, a point in the not-too-distant future when there is simply not enough Bitcoin available for sale at any price to satisfy the institutional orders flooding in from every corner of the globe. They are building their positions quietly and methodically, while the market is distracted by daily volatility and the noise of negative headlines, securing their share of the hardest money ever created before the wider world truly wakes up to what is happening right under their noses. This is your window of understanding, your moment to align your own financial future with the most sophisticated capital allocators on the planet. Do not be the person who looks back in 5 years with regret. Wondering why you didn't see the signs that were so clearly laid out in the data? The research is done, the path is clear, and the greatest transfer of wealth is underway. Your move is now. Take control. Do your own research, understand the macro landscape, and position yourself wisely for the decade ahead. The time for hesitation is over.